Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
I am convinced that the Browns were out-coached on both sides of the ball. The number one defense couldn't stop Carson Wentz, and a line of backups. It's unbelievable. I think it's time for a coaching change. It's just unbelievable. Just curious, do you think that Stefanski is going to survive? Because I don't think he's going to survive till next year. Thanks a lot.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Let's welcome in Scott Petrak, Browns beat reporter from the Chronicle-Telegram, as well as brownzone.com. Scott, I usually poo-poo that. I don't think they make a change in season. The one thing I would say is, don't think he's lost the locker room yet. If that happens, then I think you start worrying about those kind of things.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue. I'd be surprised if there was any kind of coaching change made before we get to the end of the season. And who knows after that, but you need to win some games. So I don't know what number that is, but I feel like Sunday and Monday was a game that they should have won. You can add that to the opener against Cincinnati. I don't blame Stefanski for the first one. And I think, we could have discussion about yesterday's game. I don't think it's all him. But I do think that the caller has a point when you put him head-to-head with Kevin O'Connell and the issues that the Vikings were dealing with. O'Connell's guys and O'Connell found a way to win that game.
Yeah, and I'm curious, if you're going to tell me Browns have a lead, there's 3 minutes left on the clock and their defense is on the field, they should win that. With what they have, with what is around this team, they got to win that game. The defense has to win, unless you're put on a short field. They won a short field. The defense.
No doubt, Dave. And, there were a bunch of issues yesterday, right? But my number one takeaway is that the number one defense in the league had a chance to win that game and close it out and failed to get it done. And it was against Carson Wentz, who's a backup quarterback. The Vikings had 4 backup linemen in there for that last drive, and yet the Browns were not able to get to Wentz. He went 9 for 9. They had a 10-play drive that went 80 yards, and all 10 plays were gained positive yards. And then you have, your best cornerback failed to reroute Jordan Addison on the winning touchdown pass. And, Denzel admitted it after the game to reporters in London. He's got to force Addison back inside to give safety Ronnie Hickman a chance, and he didn't, and it was just way too easy of a completion to win the game.
Later in the game, it seemed to me like the defensive line was not as aggressively going after Wentz, and late in the game, I want, if the other team has Justin Jefferson, I want Denzel Ward following him everywhere. If he goes to the sideline, I want Denzel Ward going to the Vikings sideline. I know they don't do that, and I don't have a problem with it unless it's a game-determining drive like that.
Yeah, I get that. Now, the only issue there is, you have to play man coverage there. You can't play zone, and at least on the touchdown, they were in zone. But, the biggest play on that drive, it was man coverage, and Denzel was on Jefferson, and he went up and beat him. So, they didn't lose that game, and that last drive didn't come down to Jefferson beating Greg Newsome. Denzel Ward had a chance, and Jefferson beat him. So, if I were going to come up with what they needed to do better on that final drive defensively, once you realize you're not getting home with 4, and whether that's, they chip really well or Wentz is just getting the ball out of his hands so fast, then you got to bring extra pressure. And I think Schwartz was thinking my front 4 is going to win. I'm going to drop 7. And the front 4 didn't win, and dropping 7 didn't work.